Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lisa and this video is going to be about reactive abuse, and actually I am doing this at the request of one of my subscribers who made that suggestion. So I really do listen to your suggestions and what you have to say. As I said, I look at all the comments, so feel free to keep those suggestions coming. So reactive abuse occurs when the person that is being abused lashes out in some way at their abuser. And this is actually a manipulation tactic that is used by the abuser to make it seem like the victim is actually the abuser. So the victim is told that they're overreacting or they're being overly dramatic because they're lashing out. So to give an example, what if you just walked up to your partner and just punched them, right? That would be you being abusive, right? But what if what happened was your partner had beat you up, knocked you down, they're still threatening you, and as a result, you punch them because that's the only way you can defend yourself or flee the situation. No one's really going to blame you for that. Okay, that is an example of reactive abuse. And here's another example. So say your partner just says a sentence to you and you respond with anger and rage, you're screaming insults and everything like that. Well, you're going to look like the abusive person, and you probably are. However, what if the sentence was, hey, I just wanted you to know I've been cheating on you, and, all these things, it's something like that. No one is going to blame you for having a heated response. Okay, so that is another example of reactive abuse. And this particular example, my ex-husband basically used on his second wife. And what had happened was they had gone to a Christmas party together, and once they left the party and they're in the car alone, which, just as a side note, narcissists love to start arguments with you when you're in the car with them because you can't get away. That's a subject for another video, but I just wanted to add that. So anyway, they're in the car and he just casually announces to her that, oh, you know what, by the way, I've been having an affair for about a year now, and oh, my mistress is also pregnant. Surprise! Obviously, she didn't take this news very well, and it resulted in her, crying and screaming, and I'm certain yelling insults and all this. And I know this story because not only did he tell me about it many, many times, but he wrote a book and he put it in the book. So anyway, and it's there for anybody who would want to read it, although I am not going to advertise his book on this channel and give him any promotion on that. But anyway, what he did to turn it all around on her is, as she's just blaming him for, obviously what was his fault, he came back at her with, you know what? You're basically a hypocrite because how dare you say anything to me when you, in fact, were dating a married man when I met you. Blame shifting much? Okay, so here's what I want to point out about that. Her dating a married man, which I don't even know if that's true, but even if it was, that did not keep him from dating her. That did not keep him from marrying her and being married to her for about 15 years. But all these years later, when she is calling him out in the present moment of what he's doing, he's throwing that back in her face. And now she was in the point of defending herself. That is just classic narcissistic behavior. So verbal, emotional, physical abuse is very stressful and traumatic to the person experiencing it. So it is very common for that person to lash out in defense of themselves against their abuser. So the person being abused may scream, cry, lash out physically in response to what's going on. And what happens is that abuser retaliates against the victim by accusing them of being the abuser. And abusers really, they rely on this sort of reactive abuse from their victims because they sort of see it as proof that the victim is unstable, mentally ill, or delusional. And the longer this kind of abuse goes on, the easier it is for the victim to feel guilt themselves, blame themselves for their reactions and their outbursts. And again, this is very damaging, and it's another tactic that will come into play here will be gaslighting, where the abuser is trying to make the abused person think that they're crazy. And also, this tactic basically forces the victim to focus on their own response to the event that happened rather than to the event itself. So this gives the abuser the ability to continue their abuse without repercussion. So when confronted with danger, your body instinctively releases a number of stress hormones, and basically to enhance your ability to defend yourself or respond in some way. And these are known as stress responses or trauma responses. This is the fight, flight, freeze, fawn. And in reactive abuse, this is mostly when the fight response, to the lash out is going to come out. So since these responses are innate and they're automatic, it can be really hard to control your reaction to whatever it is that you are experiencing. And the abuser is going to use these unconscious behaviors against you in order to continue to do what they do. So they bank on you reacting negatively to whatever they're doing. So what can we do instead? We can begin to respond, not react. That's easier said than done. But the more you're able to do this, the more you're able to take your power back. Because that's really what abuse is about, is one person wanting to exert power over another person. So when you are not giving that abuser what they want, which is a response from you, whether it's a fight response, whether it's you breaking down into tears, whatever it is, that's what they want. And when you don't react, and again, I know it's hard, but it's called the gray rock method. Respond, don't react. Like, oh, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, whatever. And the more you do this and the more you can get used to doing this, the easier it will become to do. And the less the narcissist is getting from you in forms of narcissistic supply. And this is really why the best thing to do is not react, because remember, they're trying to push your buttons. They're trying to elicit an emotional response from you. So when you refuse to play their game, you are taking back your power. You are coming back into control. It's a good thing. And of course, the ultimate goal with this is to leave the relationship. But that's not always immediately possible. So in the meantime, this is something that you can utilize in order to lessen it. And normally what will happen, now depending on your narcissist, they're all different, but a lot of them will get bored with you, because if you become really boring, like a gray rock, and you're just not responding to anything and they can't get that response from you, they may actually do you a favor and leave. Because if they can't get a response from you, you become really boring. And so if they leave, because they're going to get something from somewhere else, they'll seek out new supply. As painful as that is for a narcissist to leave you, It is a blessing in disguise. It's actually the best thing that could ever happen is for them to just leave on their own. And yeah, so I hope this video helps to explain a little bit more about reactive abuse, what it is, how it occurs, and how you can deal with it. So as usual, have a blessed day, and thank you so much for watching.